make your evening of entertainment more enjoyable, our refreshment stand has these delicious favorites: hot and crispy pizzas, Observe the laws of your city, state, and nation. They exist to protect the rights and freedoms of everyone.
Please replace the speaker on its stand. If you accidentally break the cord, please turn the speaker in at the refreshment stand or the manager's office. Thank you. And by the way, on your way home, drive carefully.
America, my land, your land. But will it always remain America the Beautiful? Pollution, a threat to life and health, not to mention one of our greatest natural resources, the scenic beauty of our land.
Wow, good evening everybody. Good grief, 18 minutes late. I'm sorry about the delay. We had some hardware problems, so please accept my apologies. It took about 75 minutes to put the webcast together, and a few things didn't cooperate, but we're running. So anyway, that's a look from the bird's eye view over our little town here in North Texas. So let's head to the charts and see what's going on. Okay, so I was taking a look at some of the meteor observations because as you saw in that opening clip, you saw those clouds up there. Well, one problem when you have clouds that are kind of high like that, mid-level and high-level clouds, they get picked up by some of the stations and others they don't. See here, DFW Airport, few at 6,000, scattered at 15,000. It's probably altocumulus, and then broken at 25,000. But if we go to Waco, a little bit to the south there, clear. Okay, what's the problem? It's definitely not clear around Waco. Well, got an automated site there. It's not human augmented. Let's go to Tyler, clear. Palestine, yeah, clear. So this is this problem we have when you have a lot of mid-level layers like that. So you really have to pay attention to where you're getting your observations from and how they're being taken. So let's head into the charts for tonight. I like starting with SPC because this shows where the big action is. And well, no slight risk in Arizona today. We do have a marginal risk out in that region, and then just a general thunderstorm area from the east coast all the way to the southwest. We'll zoom in on Texas, and we've had a series of overnight clusters of storms developing around the Dallas area down to Waco, San Angelo, and that's pushed a little outflow boundary down into the Austin area, just north of Houston. Some of that's going to be sea breeze coming on shore right there, but the general outflow boundary is just north of Houston out towards San Antonio, and that's dominating the weather. And behind that, there's a meso-high. And you can see the winds kind of blowing away from the meso-high out of the north around Temple and Austin, and out of the south around Abilene, Wichita Falls, and Denton. Up to the north, we do have a new cold front coming south. And let's see, there it is right there, coming into the Texas Panhandle and towards Wichita. So that's going to be the first of a big change coming up. And let's see what else is going on. Yeah, we're going to look at this on another chart. The upper level pattern still showing the jet stream well up to the north. This is the polar front jet. And we can see the big ridge across the western U.S. right there. So that's bringing some very warm temperatures to that region. And where we have the troughing, as you might guess, that's where we have some cold weather. Here's a bit of troughing in the Great Plains area right there. Let's draw out that trough. And that's probably going to correlate to some of that cold air coming out of Canada, because in the upper levels of the troposphere, a trough like that, that's going to correspond to cold air beneath, because the thickness in cold air is very low. It's very dense. It kind of hugs the ground, and you get a faster decrease in pressure with height over those cold air masses. 500 millibar chart showing a closed low across, or closed high across Idaho there. So we're going to expect to find some warm weather there. And then let's go down to 850 and just look at the moisture flow. Definitely bringing that moisture up from the Rio Grande up to DFW and Shreveport there. And also picking up some pretty high dew points there at Tucson and El Paso, with that monsoon affecting that region. All right, let me just take a quick peek and make sure the levels are okay. Okay, good. Good. All right, yeah, let's keep going here. All right, thickness chart. Well, there's our first big change coming out of Canada right there. Lots of thickness gradient up in that region. And we can see that front there coming into Edmonton, into, I guess that'd be around Prince George, and into Saskatchewan, and very strong warm front up in that region. So a lot to look at up there in Canada. And there's an occluded front going all the way up to the Northwest Territories. And a little bit of cold air offshore off of Washington and Oregon. Looks like that front is slowly coming on shore. There it is right there. Looks like it may have passed Portland. So that's good news for those guys. And obviously, because of that upper level high, it's still going to be warm there in Idaho. All right, let's take a closer look at the data with digital atmosphere there. There's those fronts in the central U.S., and let's bring up the plots and see what kind of temperatures we got. Wow, 108 at Boise, and still running about 100 at Pendleton, and 105 at Spokane. And I'm kind of wondering if that high in Boise is a all-time high. It's going to be pretty close there. And let's see, 100 degrees up there in western Montana, and we got 107. I think that's going to be Miles City. Or maybe Glasgow. Okay. Anyway, yeah, let's take a look up to the north because there's some other stuff to look at. Let's go to the satellite and, yeah, take a look at this here. This is British Columbia and Alberta. And let me run a loop of this. And this shows the progression of patterns today. It's got a very smoky look. See that right there? And then we got this other thing going on up here, coming into Edmonton, and I guess I don't really know all the cities up there. I guess Valley View's up here, Edmonton, some of there. Anyway, yeah, this is stratus beneath smoke. All this blue is smoke. And then it looks like that right in here, that's going to be that stratus coming southward behind that cold front. So it's probably a very unusual weather pattern there. You've got all that brownish overcast, and then you get that big plume of stratus moving in, probably very dark underneath that. And you can see the fires out there way up north of Vancouver. I guess it's going to be the Fraser River Valley. And wow, yeah, those are some huge plumes coming off that region. So yeah, the west coast there being hit pretty hard by fires. Let's just take a quick look at region by region. Start with the northwest, of course, and let's see how things look today. Yeah, this is going to be near peak heating, and we can see that 106 there at Spokane, and the 107 to 108, and even 109 near Caldwell. So that's some very warm air there, and it does look like it has cooled down around Seattle. I can see it looks like maybe 78, and then 85, still kind of warm around Portland, but you can definitely see the westerly flow coming in into the deserts. Southwestern U.S., see how that looked today. Looks pretty warm. The model here suggesting 110 there for Fresno. So lots of problems in that region too with heat. And let's take a look out in the Texas region. And we can see outflow from those storms there around Temple out to Austin. That right there is going to be the outflow boundary. And let's just see how that progresses overnight. You can see the outflow boundary kind of diffuses there towards dawn. Looks like it's sitting right around College Station out to Austin. So that's what I would watch for redevelopment tomorrow. And then we get the heating going on. And we can see the meso high holding around DFW, keeping things kind of cool. And then we see the precip breaking out. Looks like one cluster near Shreveport, another around Palestine and Crockett, and all the way down to Austin, and some others here and there from Wichita Falls back towards Roswell. Up in the Central Plains, some very strong downslope there, producing some very hot temperatures. And let's see what happens overnight. Yeah, a bit of a cold front coming south in Oklahoma. On the other side, looks like some downslope up to the north. And then for tomorrow afternoon, another warm-up for South Dakota. It's kind of weird seeing South Dakota up near 100 degrees and then down in Kansas only about 90. So a very strange weather pattern. And let's head out east. Taking a look at around Georgia and Alabama. Looks like some multicellular storms from about Macon out to Montgomery and Jackson. Those outflow boundaries will be sitting around that area overnight. And let's see, yeah, redevelopment, same area. You can see those specks there where it's breaking out. That's going to be from about, looks like Selma to about Jackson. And other than that, just hot. And we'll check out the northeast U.S. real quick. Looks pretty warm there. Temperatures up near 85 today. And we can definitely see some cool air up to the north right in that area. So it looks like a cold front kind of hanging just east of the Appalachians, something like that right there. Skew-Ts. Let's check out the Skew-Ts for Fort Worth. Still looking pretty moist. A little bit of dry air just off the surface right there. Looks like 63 dew points tapering down to 50s. So we've probably lost a little bit of the moisture. However, pretty good lapse rate all the way up to 11,000 feet. But a little bit of, I guess you'd call that a Cape robber, up at about 20,000 feet. So that'll provide a little bit of suppression. And let's look at Amarillo. Amarillo is going to be in further up to the north of that outflow boundary, so it's probably be a little bit drier. And yeah, dew points running about 60, falling off with height, and looks like a little bit of a inversion up at about 14,000 feet, that right there. That's going to be a subsidence inversion, probably a little bit of ridging, working on that air mass. And with that subsidence through that layer, that's going to warm that layer up. And down below, that's kind of a tropical air mass in that region right there. And you can see a reflection of that with the humidity. See that dry layer up there with that subsidence? And down below, there's that tropical air. Okay, let's see. Yeah, got picture in picture. It's a little overexposed. Let me see if I can turn that down a bit. So we'll be playing with this a little bit. Anyway, yeah, there's Amarillo. Let's take a look at a couple more Skew-Ts. Well, let me see if I can improve this picture a little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit better. Okay. All right, yeah, we'll work on that and see what happens. I'm going to take a quick look at Spokane, since they're in the middle of that heat. Yeah, definitely looks very hot. This is a morning sounding, and you can see just off the surface some very warm air. And surprisingly, about 2,000 feet off the surface there, temperatures 88 degrees Fahrenheit at 12Z. That's about 5 in the morning in that area, so that's some incredibly hot temperatures there. And then you can see the radiation inversion down below that. Okay, we'll take a little look at the rest of the satellite data. Okay. So this is showing that very cloudy, stormy pattern across Texas, New Mexico, Four Corners, and up all the way up to Missouri. And up to the north, some smoke coming in from those wildfires. And we can animate that. And yeah, there's some of that smoke making it into Minneapolis and Duluth, rounding the top of that ridge there. And we'll zoom in on a couple of areas. Start with Texas there. There's all that thunderstorm activity. You can see the sea breeze down there around Houston. Lake Charles doesn't make much progress inland. And then up to the north, these storms are dominated mostly by the outflow boundary up in that area. And looks like a little bit of upslope flow around Amarillo affecting that area, helping to produce some storms all the way west into New Mexico. And then there are some storms in Indiana and Illinois too. Animate those. This is what it looked like earlier in the day. In fact, let me see if I can go back a little bit earlier, because I like checking those out right before convection develops. Okay, so this is how it looked earlier, about noon. So if you're forecasting for this, well, you would see some congested activity around Kankakee, up to Gary, back to, I guess that'd be Fort Wayne maybe. That region right there. And let's see if that firms up as the day goes on. Yeah, it's very hard to tell. Yeah, there's one breaking out right there near Kankakee. And they get going. More cells down to the south around Champaign and Springfield. And then those move east into Indiana there. And I saw one good overshoot right there. I guess that'd be north of, I don't know, too many of the towns out there. I guess that'd be north of Grissom Air Force Base. Pretty good top there, and another one there north of Rantoul. Okay, time to head into the forecast, and we'll start with the high-resolution rapid refresh. So what I like to do with this is kind of see if maybe it's verifying. I might match that up with radar a bit. Yeah, this is probably fairly close. And what we see here is some of that northwesterly flow activity picking up there around Austin around midnight. And then those spread up into the Tyler area around dawn. And then, of course, we'll probably see some redevelopment tomorrow, wherever that outflow boundary ends up. And then a quick look at the upper level patterns. There's that upper level high right there across Wyoming. Looks like that spreads into the Dakotas and Minnesota. You can kind of see why they're getting that heat in that region. So we're going to be kind of stuck with that pattern for a while, and there's that low spinning. This kind of sheared out yesterday, or maybe today, right there in Kansas, and then that upper level low kind of ended up like that. So let's animate that. Let's see. Yeah, there it is right there. Yeah, that starts right there around Texas overnight, and then that low kind of closes off and hangs around the panhandles. And then another low, same thing. You can see this shortwave coming into the Great Lakes, passing Lake Superior there, and that also shears off as it passes through Michigan. This is going to be about Sunday morning, and there it is breaking off. So it looks like some rain there in Ohio, Pittsburgh, Charleston, and maybe as far west as Indiana. All right, so let's take that forward into the next couple weeks, and precipitable water is a good chart to use. This chart here has the precipitable water as colors, and then if you look at the line pattern, you can actually see the highs and lows within that. And I'll try to draw a few fronts on here to help it make more sense. Okay, so analyzing this chart, well, we can see a lot of moisture there from Texas east into Georgia, so no wonder there's a lot of afternoon thunderstorm activity in that region. I see what looks like a high pressure right there in Nebraska, so that's helping to drive that front into Kansas. And then, of course, north of that high, you've got the southwest to northeast flow, and that's helping to generate the upslope flow in that region, or the downslope flow, and that's producing the hot temperatures in that region. And let's see what else. Low pressure there in Ontario. And I'm just taking kind of a guess where the fronts are. Okay, that looks something like that right there. And then, of course, there's another one up to the north. We analyzed that earlier. That probably connects into that Ontario system. So there we go. So that's what's going on there. And let's see what happens over the next several days. Pretty good high up there in Canada. 1022 millibars, and that pushes that front down towards the Canada-U.S. border. So this will be affecting the U.S. later next week. Let's see when it makes its move. Looks like that's going to be Monday. So there's that big polar high. There's a polar low right there, warm front, and this is the first shot of cold air coming into the Dakotas. This is on Monday. And down to the south, a pretty good plume of moisture heading north, being pulled into that system. So this is probably why I'm looking for maybe a bit of severe there in Minnesota. You've got the upper level dynamics, which are going to be increasing, of course, with this polar system up in Canada. So I would expect the jet location to be running something like this. That's always going to come back in behind the cold front. It's going to pass close to the polar low like that. And you can kind of see the troughing out to the west and the ridging out where the warm air is. So with that jet in place, that means the upper level flow is going to be stronger, and that will help ventilate the storms in that region, the northern plains. And I think we got all the ingredients there for some severe weather next week. And then, let's see, later in the week, Thursday, Friday, I guess I can see a bit of a ridge in this area. I'm mostly finding low pressure areas. So yeah, we're looking at this something like this for Thursday morning. Cold front stalling out there in Kansas. Probably a good chance of rain in that area there. That's a good setup there for nocturnal MCSs. And let's see. Wow, a lot of moisture coming in Arizona. Las Vegas, that's not monsoon in full effect there. And we run this up to the weekend, Sunday and Monday. Yeah, here's our next shot of cold air coming in. See this huge high pressure across British Columbia. And we've got all these contours, isobars running like that. That's that big polar high moving in. This is almost like a fall pattern. And this is extending into much of the central U.S. right there. There's the front, all the way into Texas. Cooler, dry air coming in behind that. And looks like some active weather for Indiana, Ohio, and Michigan towards the 20th there. And cold, dry air sweeps through much of the U.S. Boundary all the way down into the southeast U.S. And looks like another shot of, yeah, here's a shot of cold air right there. Another front making its way south. So, yeah, things are getting a little bit interesting here for later in the month. All right. Yeah, we're kind of lacking tropical systems. Let's take a quick look at NHC. Five-day tropical outlook. Yeah, there's a wave out there. I wonder if that's the same one we were looking at earlier. Let's go to the Terra and Aqua. Yeah, give me a second. I've got that bookmarked on one of my other profiles here. Let me see if I can bring that up. Okay, Earth View, that's what it was. Let's bring that up. Yeah, Earth View, Worldview, I'm sorry, yeah, worldview.earthdata.nasa.gov. That's what we like to use here for the polar orbiter satellites. And yeah, let's see what's happening here. Yeah, it looks like a bit of a wave right there. And possibly a couple ones about to come off the African coast. And let's see what that looked like. Hang on a second. See what that looked like yesterday. Yeah, this looks like the wave right there, and then for today, that progressed westward. Yeah, I think that's it right there. Okay, they've got one for Friday. 20% chance of formation in 5 days. I guess that's probably that easterly wave lifting out and moving westward there. And let's see, let's check on the dust there. I'm going to add the aerosol optical depth. And we'll get aqua and terra. And yeah, there's that dust. Looks like it's still pretty far south. It's around the Bay of Campeche, back across the Yucatan and Belize. And just to give you a look yesterday, you can see it was over the Caribbean. So yeah, some of it's probably poised to make it into Texas in a couple days here, almost to Brownsville. Let me give you the coastlines. Yeah, Brownsville is going to be located about right there. So the dust, yeah, this northern, yeah, that will make it into Texas here in a couple days. So maybe we'll get some drone footage of that dust there. Okay, let's see how we're looking. Take a quick look at chat there. Let's see, we got, let me just skim through this real quick. Willie Greenway, Mr. Manlet, Burl H, Erica, Sue. Let me check the messages here. Massive flight delays from Ryan there from all 3 metro international airports. Power outages, stuff coming back online there. A little discussion about lightning there in chat. Mike R says some cooler temperatures headed out there in the west should help with the massive fires. Yeah, California has really been getting a raw deal there. Let's check out the drought monitor. I'm sure it's going to be pretty red out west there. So here it is coming online. Yeah, it looks like they're not too bad. So kind of a light to moderate drought. Looks like the Four Corners is really what's being hit pretty hard there. And unfortunately, yeah, drought developing in Texas from looks like around Del Rio up to Fort Worth, and Kansas City getting a bit of that too. All right, let's see. I think that might be about it. Anything else I want to cover? Oh yeah, I was going to show the surface map up there in Alberta. And you can see a few plots here indicating the smoke. There's 1 mile in smoke. That's going to be in the Valley View area there. The sensors reporting haze. That's probably smoke right there. And we can see the cold front coming in. I don't know if we have any viewers in Alberta, but if you do, yeah, we're covering your area there. And then out ahead of the cold front, once again, downslope. Yeah, westerly winds coming into the Calgary area there. And let's see, Calgary showing 97, and down to the south around, I guess that'd be Lethbridge, 104, 104 degrees. So, yeah, a lot of warm weather in that region. Okay, that'll probably do it there. Once again, I'm sorry about the equipment problems. We'll have that sorted out for tomorrow. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed the webcast. Everybody take care, and we'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.